We spend 1/3 of our lives sleeping, and it's such an important part of our day. When we sleep together with our partner, it comes with an untold level of trust. But how much do we really know what's going while our eyes are closed? Let's join Soo Jin as she discovers that while her husband Yun Soo is asleep, he awakens something terrifying. Soo Jin works as a senior executive in a company while her husband, Yun Soo, works as a small-time actor doing extra roles for TV series productions. Both are expecting their first child soon. One night, Soo Jin wakes up to find Yun Soo sitting on the edge of the bed. She calls him, but all he said in reply is, "Someone is inside," before going back to sleep. Suddenly, she hears a noise beyond the open door. She cautiously approaches the source, no matter how terrified she is, only to discover that it's their pet dog, Pepper. The next day, Yun Soo leaves for work first. After a short while, Soo Jin also leaves but accidentally hits Min Jung, her new neighbor. She just recently moved at the unit directly below them and has offered Soo Jin some snacks. But the offering came with some bit of complaint. Apparently there's a noise every night coming from Soo Jin's household for a week now, and it's bothering their neighbor below. Soo Jin remembers her scream last night and promises not to do it again, so she takes her leave. After work that evening, Yun Soo picks up Soo Jin from work and the two talk about what happened that morning. They talk about the previous tenant below, who is an old man who always complains about the noise with a passion. After dinner, Soo Jin tells her husband about his sleep talking and the creepy words he said about someone is inside. But Yun Soo just brushed it off while they continue to watch his small role in a TV show with some cringe. Shortly after, Soo Jin reads her husband's script and finds the words, "Someone is inside the building," and realizing Yun Soo is probably reciting his lines while asleep. But then Yun Soo suddenly starts scratching his face, and while Soo Jin thought she had stopped it, they wrongly realized that the next day. They tried their best to treat the wound, and Yun Soo still went to work regardless. Soo Jin finds traces of blood and finds Pepper hiding under the bed, terrified. That night, Soo Jin arrives home with bad news that Yun Soo has been fired because of his facial wounds. Without missing a beat, Yun Soo declares that he'll become a real estate professional instead, but Soo Jin talks him out of it and reminds him of their family motto, which is, "Together we can overcome anything." Soo Jin continues to work late into the night and has put mittens on Yun Soo in order to protect him from himself. But Yun Soo does something different this time around. He stands up and ambles his way into the kitchen and starts eating from the fridge. Soo Jin curiously follows him and is horrified to find him eating raw meat and fish. This makes her sick, and to make matters worse, Yun Soo opens the window and tries to jump out. Soo Jin barely manages to pull Yun Soo back to safety. This jolts Yun Soo awake, who has no idea what happened. He promises to see a doctor the next day. Safety measures were taken care of the next day, and Soo Jin's mother even came to visit. She brings out an expensive talisman she bought from a shaman, and Soo Jin openly shows her skepticism to such measures. Yun Soo undergoes the sleep test as promised, and the doctor explains the findings shortly after. He's having REM sleep disorder due to a chemical imbalance, which is actually quite common. The symptoms shown were exactly what happened to Yun Soo, and the good news is that it's treatable. Various lifestyle changes need to be done, like sleepwalk-proofing the house. Changes to diet and no more alcohol, sleep no later than 10 p.m., and keeping the room cool. And most important of all is to take the right medication. Soo Jin and Yun Soo both go to bed, hopeful that they're one step closer to curing this disorder. The next morning, after what appears to be a peaceful night's sleep for both of them, Soo Jin wakes up to find food scraps with dog hair on them. Fearing the worst, she dreadfully looks at the freezer and begins to open it slowly. She screams in horror as she finds their dog Pepper dead inside. After some time, Soo Jin finally gives birth to a baby girl, and the two couldn't be any happier. And once again, her mother is there to convince Soo Jin to consult with the shaman, and of course Soo Jin declines, claiming that they have a plan. Soo Jin gets discharged from the hospital, and they impose more safeguards in the house, like a bell to alert Soo Jin, and now Yun Soo has to sleep in a sleeping bag to limit his movements. She looks out the window and notices her neighbor Min Jung together with her son walking their new dog, which looks a whole lot like Pepper. This stirs up painful memories, and Soo Jin was left alone to brew in silence. She then browsed the internet about the darker side of sleepwalking, where they end up hurting or even killing their own child while in that state. Soo Jin shoves more pills in Yun Soo just to be on the safe side. But this didn't drive away Soo Jin's anxiety, so she picks up her baby and locks themselves in the bathroom. And shortly after they have fallen asleep in the bathtub, Soo Jin hears a soft knock which turned into violent slamming on the door. This terrifies her, but after she has calmed down, she takes a peek outside and finds Yun Soo peeing on their daughter's crib. This whole ordeal made Soo Jin afraid of her and her daughter's safety, which also resulted in her lack of sleep. She's delirious during their trip to the doctor as they try to negotiate getting medication for a more potent drug. The doctor, however, declined the request and urged them to continue with the original treatment, which infuriates Soo Jin. Things are getting tense in Yun Soo's household that he even resorted to sleeping in the car. Soo Jin brings him back home on the condition that her husband be locked in the room. The next day, Soo Jin's mother introduced Madame Haegong to the couple. This intimidating-looking woman is the expensive shaman that the mother has been consulting with. Madame Haegong immediately goes to work and claims that ghosts tend to possess people while they sleep since their soul is vulnerable at this time. The shaman kept going and creepily concludes that Soo Jin is living with two men, since a ghost is haunting her husband and most likely followed him because it was attracted to Soo Jin. After prodding him further, Madame Haegong whispers a cryptic message: "No more barking dogs, no more crying babies, it's just you and I." The shaman packs up and recommends doing an exorcism, which she can't perform without the name of the ghost, so it's up to Soo Jin to figure it out. Madame Haegong left them with more talismans and threatens the ghost before leaving. And so Soo Jin's investigations begin with looking up previous ex-boyfriends on her socials. However, all of them are still alive, which leads her to suspect that it could really be a ghost, but Yun Soo just brushed her off. Then suddenly they both remembered the old man who used to live downstairs, who just recently left. The old man always complained about the couple's dog being too loud. The next day, Soo Jin pays Min Jung a visit and brings their Pepper's leftover food as offering. She notices the after effects of the old man's tantrums and she asks her neighbor if she knows anything about him. And it was actually Min Jung's father, much to Soo Jin's surprise. Soo Jin asks where the old man moved to, but Min Jung's son admits that he's died in the bathroom. As shocked as Soo Jin is, she remembers to ask for the old man's name. Later that night, she's clearly on edge. And while Yun Soo sleeps, Soo Jin addresses the ghost if he's going to kill her daughter. Yun Soo whispers, "I don't know." The next day, Yun Soo wakes up fully refreshed while Soo Jin didn't sleep a wink. He asks her about what this talisman is doing in the room, but this enrages Soo Jin since she was the one who hid it there. Apparently, she was up all night watching Yun Soo sleep and thinks that the talisman is working since he didn't get up during the night. Because of this, Yun Soo forcefully carries Soo Jin back to the room and urges her to get some rest while he takes care of everything. Later that night, she wakes up and finds her husband sound asleep beside her. She gets up quickly to check on the baby, but she's not in the crib. She hears her crying outside and she quickly heads out and frantically digs through the trash and is horrified to find her baby. Fortunately, it was just a nightmare, but this didn't stop Soo Jin from checking the fridge just in case. But then she notices a boiling stock pot and this conjures up terrifying visions and she spills it to inspect the bones. This is when Yun Soo walks in with their baby safe and sound. Upon seeing what happened, he immediately helps Soo Jin, but she promptly knocks him out. Yun Soo wakes up bound with a knife at his throat, Soo Jin desperately threatening the old ghost while her husband pleads for his life. He tells her that he's been approved for the stronger medication and that everything will be alright, and this seems to placate Soo Jin. Yun Soo's visit to the hospital yielded splendid results. Under the new medication, his sleep patterns have become normal and the doctor assures him that he's as good as cured. When asked how his wife is doing, Yun Soo sheepishly replies that Soo Jin has been in rehab for a while now but is getting discharged today. Yun Soo drives all the way to the Inner Forest Psychiatric Hospital to pick up Soo Jin, but she's missing. After dropping off his mother-in-law and baby, Yun Soo drives home and on the way up finds his neighbor's son looking at him strangely. When he enters his apartment, Yun Soo is shocked to find it filled with talismans from floor to ceiling. Soo Jin shows up and asks him to sit down and watch her presentation. Yun Soo is of course upset about all this and reasons to Soo Jin that he's cured and that there's no need for all this, but she went ahead anyway. She presented that according to the old man's death certificate, Yun Soo's nightly episode began 10 days after the old man's death, which ties to her belief that a soul becomes a ghost after 10 days after dying. She provided further evidence of possessed individuals scratching themselves and devouring raw meats. All this time Yun Soo is looking at his wife like she's gone insane. Soo Jin says that afterwards the ghost then exacts revenge on what caused their grudge, which in their case is their noisy dog. Yun Soo once again begs Soo Jin to stop all this since he's already cured, but she has one more surprise. Unbeknownst to him, they performed an exorcism on the 49th day while he slept. This is the reason why Yun Soo appears to have been cured, since the ghost won't bother them for 50 days, but yesterday was the 50th day. Yun Soo has had enough and he locks himself in his room while Soo Jin frantically begs him to help her. The ghost only has 100 days before it can ascend, and today is their last day, and if they don't do something they'll live like this forever and put their daughter's life in danger. Yun Soo goes out of the room and prepares to leave the house when Soo Jin reminds him of their family motto. Together we can overcome anything. And so he stays and offers to help however he can. Soo Jin whispers something in Yun Soo's ear and he gets up and checks the freezer, only to find their neighbor's dog dead. He quickly runs to the bathroom to puke and then finds Min Jung all tied up. Apparently, Soo Jin also kidnapped her neighbor and now holds her hostage against the ghost. Yun Soo can do nothing but watch in horror as Min Jung begs the ghost of her father to leave Soo Jin's family alone and to move on. Min Jung cries and pleads that if her father doesn't depart Yun Soo, she'll be killed along with her son, like their dog. Running out of time, she tries to threaten the ghost again and turned on the drill for added measure, but a sudden distraction gave Yun Soo the opening to stop this madness. But after a short pause, Yun Soo's whole personality and voice changed to the ghost's. He really was indeed possessed. The ghost promises Soo Jin that he'll leave now, and after saying goodbye to his still tied up daughter, walked slowly up to the window and finally moved on. With Yun Soo finally free and with time to spare, Soo Jin was able to rest at long last. We've reached the end of our story. Thank you for staying until the end. Please leave a like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this, and see you on the next one.